It was a huge announcement that rocked all of the headlines across the Disney vlogs, blogs, and YouTube channels. Joe Rohde, the legendary Disney Imagineer, was back. But folks, we're here to tell you that the headlines might have been a wee bit misleading, and once again, this may all be part of an effort to try to stop Nelson Peltz. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel. We are so happy to have you here as we continue to unwind the tangle web that Disney continues to weave. Today we're taking a look at a story that Joe Rohde, the legendary Disney Imagineer, who is largely responsible for the incredible Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World, that he is returning to Disney as an Imagineer. But a closer look reveals that's not actually the case. And in fact, despite the massive headlines, the giant marquees, it seems that Mr. Rohde doesn't have keys to any real offices at Disney. In fact, it's very, very temporary. The Disney blogs, vlogs, tubers, and everything else, they're all excited because Joe Rohde is back. A Disney icon is back at Walt Disney Imagineering for a limited time. This by Kaylee Henniger out of All Ears. It says, if you're a longtime Disney fan, then there's a good chance you are familiar with former Disney Imagineer Joe Rohde. Now, guys, it's going to matter that this starts off by saying former, because that has not changed. I'm going to tell you, though, folks, this story is bigger than it seems on its surface. That's why we cover it here. That's why we give you insight that these other places don't, although we love All Ears and Kaylee Henniger. But there's a reason that Joe Rohde is back when Rohde is back, and there's a reason he's not really back after all. Wink, wink, hint, hint, nod, nod, hang with us. Rohde was recently nominated as a Disney legend for his involvement in the creation of Disney's Animal Kingdom, Pandora, World of Avatar, and even Disney's Aulani in Hawaii. Now we have another update on Rohde. Walt Disney Imagineering shared on Instagram that Rohde would be leading a series of masterclass work sessions. Wait a minute. Professor Rohde, you say? Professor?
Better
maybe not
Professor
even that
Rohde than Ludwig von Drake at this stage. So.
I'll take it over.
Is this that actual like master class like business that like sells that stuff?
Absolutely.
Oh, what a disaster that company is struggling. I'll point that out.
Here, current Imagineers will be able to learn from the man who helped create so many things that we love in the parks. Disney said, following in the footsteps of many former Imagineers, Joe continues to mentor and share his years of storytelling knowledge with current Imagineers, contributing to the future of creativity at Walt Disney Imagineering. Those lobes are dropping down. How low, low, low can you go? Rohde himself even shared a video on Instagram with the caption, do a bit of work at the old farm, and it's him going through the Walt Disney Imagineering doors. And then, of course, the response here, which goes farther than we go, is, okay, why are we crying? Well, pixie dust in your eyes. Pixie dust in your eyes. All right, so why is this really happening? Well, it's really happening because Bob Iger, once again, in my estimation, needs to say, Joe Rohde is back in the headlines just ahead of this proxy vote. Why? Because apparently they're scared to death, and they're acting like it by doing these kinds of stunts. Why do I call it a stunt? Because Rohde is not back. Rohde is not an Imagineer. Rohde is not doing what he should be doing, which is helping facilitate the giant new expansions coming to Animal Kingdom. Instead, this is all a publicity stunt for him to go in and teach 2 or 3 classes or whatever to Imagineers who voluntarily want to sit on a master class. That's all this is, but it's garnering headlines for the reason of, yet again, I believe, trying to stop Nelson Peltz. Panel is pro-wrong.
No, but when you know that from the headline, go back up to the headline.
Moving on up, 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 up.
For a limited time. That makes him sound like this week's popcorn book.
He's a Happy Meal.
I mean,
which is, of course, he's like Jabba the Hutt in that way.
Well,
you know, I see a comment out in the chat. We don't normally put up a tremendous number of chats that are not super chats, or else it'll just be covered up all day with non-super chats. But I got to say, Grassy, you win. You just win, Grassy. I can't. There are people out there who they are the geniuses of the world, and Grassy is one of them. So yeah, this is much to do about absolutely nothing. And it does draw into question why exactly they do not bring back this man to be in charge of this redo of the dinosaur area in Animal Kingdom. Guys, any further thoughts?
Yeah, this is the question I want to ask here. Are you sure that this is not a good sign for the company? I think this acknowledges a problem that they have at the Walt Disney Company, and the fact that so many people have left this organization. I think they said something like 90% turnover on all the senior staff, or something like that after 2020 and the whole debacle with Lake Nona, which going to put that one on Chapek, even though I think it was Bob Iger would have had to have signed off on it, and the board would have had to have signed off on it at that point. Having Joe Rohde come back while they're talking about Animal Kingdom, and he's getting this Disney Legend Award, which is not until later this year, but I see a higher level of involvement. We've seen indications before this that he was already in the building there more often. So,
all right, let me play with that then, Jonas, because I appreciate you pushing back. Let me play with that and see what we get out of this conversation. So let's follow your logic, and I'm going to give you a different headline in Pro's magical world. Okay, this is Pro's magical, theoretical, hypothetical world that does not exist. And here's the headline, and you tell me which one is better. Okay, so our headline du jour is Disney icon is back at Walt Disney Imagineering for a limited time. My headline in my magical, hypothetical, theoretical world is Disney legends Joe Rohde and Tony Baxter to join mentorship program at Disney Imagineering. That's my headline. That if that were happening, I'd agree with you and say
right. And
the
for
company
those of you
is going in the right direction.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't aware, Tony Baxter has already been doing master classes at Walt Disney Imagineering for a while now. The rumor is he makes more money in retirement than he did while he was actually employed at the company, and works half or less the time that he has in the past. But I
think he was so alienated he'd have to make it, or he wouldn't do it.
The other difference is that Joe Rohde has a more active following on social media because he's on social media more. He's also much more actively in line with the company's messaging that has nothing to do with the company itself.
It's the ear.
It is the ear. What's funny is I was thinking about the ear versus
ragtag outcast bunch that are trying to do things.
Yeah, and that earring thing will come up more in this Pro show, because it's not the only piece of interesting paraphernalia somebody's got on their head. We'll be talking about this show. But I think the ear, first of all, it's great branding on his part, because everyone
My hat does look good, Jonas. Thank you for pointing it out. Thank you.
Perfect. And I've completely lost my train of thought here. It's okay. Joe Rohde is one of those guys. He is very talented, a little quirky, but I think the earring is probably a little bit of branding genius. He sacrificed part of his head in order to be, who's this guy? Who's this weirdo? But then they look at his resume and they see, oh, no. He's actually one of those people that actually delivers on all of this. He's one of those rare people that has a gimmick, but also delivers.
So you're saying that Bob said, get the guy with the ear, even if it costs an arm and a leg.
Well said. Well said. This is, I'm trying to think of now leprosy jokes because of all the body parts flying. All right, guys, let's go to our next topic.
I Dismember Mama. Anyway.
Folks, we have come to the end. You have heard a range of different opinions about this. Now it is time for you to weigh in. Drop a comment down below and let us know what you think about all of this. Do you agree with my assessment? Do you think Jonas is right that perhaps this is nudging Joe Rohde and Disney in a good direction together better than ever? Who knows? But maybe you do. Let us know in the comments. Folks, also like, share, subscribe. Click it, stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. And we hope you have a very wonderful time out there, folks. You're the gigawatts. You make all of these videos possible. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing. And as always, say it with me, keep having fun.